Howdy guys, I'm back with more Mass Effect Andromeda. So Eos is just behind me, but before I go exploring, I need to get caught up in my Codex as I've been exploring the Nexus, and as I explored Habitat 7, a whole bunch of new Codex entries popped up, and I've been ignoring them, so today is just me getting caught up in the Codex. So we're going into finding a home, Crisis on Habitat 7. During your trial by fire on Habitat 7, you recognized the Ket as a hostile threat and fought to defend your crewman Fisher. Explored an alien laboratory, found a cave full of plant life that survived from the planet's Golden World era, discovered alien shuttlecraft of unknown origin, rescued Greer from his captors, and expressed doubts about accepting the role of Pathfinder. I'm wondering if maybe any of these choices matter later on or something. Alright, a crew like no other. Cora Harper. You and Cora have established a professional working relationship. Alright, Callow Jath. Callow hasn't spent much time getting to know you, but he's a solid pilot regardless. Liam Costa. First impressions of Liam. He's a real booster for the initiative and always gives his all for the mission. Lexi Tapiro. Though you haven't had a chance to get to know her personally, Lexi has proven herself to be a capable doctor, having already saved your life after the mission on Habitat 7. Vetra Nix. Vetra Nix has joined the Pathfinder team. She seems to be familiar with the Nexus's nightmarish bureaucratic procedures and was instrumental in getting the Pathfinder ship released to you. Beyond that, however, she remains a mystery. Beyond that, I have a girl crush on her. Alright, Gil Brody. You've left Gil to his job taking care of the Tempest systems, which seems to keep him busy. And then Suvi Anwar. Suvi Anwar is the Tempest's resident science officer. She works closely with the research team on the Nexus, analyzing the data you and Sam collect in the field, and she's also very pretty. Alright, and then Ryder. Ongoing psychological profile Pathfinder Ryder. From the files of Tempest physician and psychologist Dr. Alexi Tapero. Ryder, as part of my assignment on the Tempest, I'm required to send a psychological assessment to Pathfinder HQ. I'm sending you my notes. After all, you should know what I'm telling them. I've only known you for a short time, and so this is just my initial take. Enjoy. Displays analytical thinking and intellectual curiosity, maintains poise and discipline even under intense pressure. Impulsive actions often speak louder than words. I'll be required to update them and send a more in-depth report later. Lexi. Hey, what do you mean about impulsive actions? Well, I'm glad that I display analytical thinking. I'm glad she didn't just put down, is a bozo with pink hair. Alright, the ties that bind. You still mourn the loss of your father Alec, a man you loved and respected. You hope you'd have made him proud as Pathfinder. You started the search for answers to the mystery about why your father made you Pathfinder. Alright, so I guess that's going to be a long time coming on filling that one out. Alright, the Andromeda Initiative, Sam. Alright, so I'm guessing I just need to maybe read like the last paragraphs of some of these instead of like reading the whole thing because I've already gone through some of this, right? So I'll just look over the bottom paragraph. Alright, I am physically located in a server bank installed in SAM node aboard the Arc Hyperion, but quantum entanglement and technology. Okay, well, I'm actually maybe this whole thing's new. Let me just read the whole thing. Let me just start from the beginning. Either it's new or it's not. Alright, self-examination being important for sentient beings, I was encouraged to write this entry by Ryder. I am a simulated adaptive matrix, a new generation artificial intelligence. Unlike most AI, I link to a neural implant that gives me access to my host's sensory and emotional responses. Put simply, I have a direct understanding of the human experience, which allows me to grow beyond the bounds of logical programming. In return, I lend my quantum computing power and rational analysis to a Pathfinder's mission. I am physically located in a server bank installed in SAM node aboard the Arc Hyperion, but quantum entanglement tech allows instant communication anywhere. In the event of catastrophic injury or death, protocol dictates that my command access be transferred to the next Pathfinder candidate in line. Yeesh. Alright, Ryder. Alright, so most of this does look old. Alright, so this is new right here. Alright, soon after our arrival in Andromeda in 2819, Ryder died during operations on Habitat 7. Alright, not a lot to say about anybody right now. I don't have a whole lot of known associates. Alright, the initiative. Andromeda Initiative Nexus Uprising. Despite Director Tan's reluctance to share them, the Nexus retains records of the so-called Nexus Uprising in the early months of the station's arrival. The damage caused by the Scourge killed members of the senior leadership. New individuals had to step in to fill these roles. However, with hydroponics damaged and no habitable planets available, supplies were stretched to crisis point. Dissent turned to open rebellion against this new leadership. With the Nexus threatened, Krogan work crews were asked to provide military support against the rebels, now led by Head of Security Sloan Kelly, in return for political representation. The Krogan were ultimately successful, and the rebels were exiled from the Nexus. These exiles remain a concern for the Nexus leadership to this day, and I'm sure they will be a big, giant central point later on. Alright, the majority of Krogan personnel also left the Nexus soon afterwards. Director Tan has declined to provide details or fill in the gaps in the official record. I would like to get those Krogan back, that's for sure. Alright, Jan Garson. Alright, so unfortunately she would never live to see her dream realized. She died aboard the Nexus when it sustained severe damage from the Scourge upon first arriving in the Helios cluster. Really depressed. Like, it actually I'm almost more depressed over Jan's death than Alex, as stupid as that is. Just because, you see this picture of her plastered everywhere. I don't really mean that, I was kidding. But, it was definitely like a mix of confusion and disappointment, I guess. I think it's just disappointing that she passed because, reading about her and listening to her, what she was about, I was excited to meet her, and now it seems like I never will, and that's just kind of a shame. Alright, Militia and Apex. Though encountering hostile species was a possible scenario, political, philosophical, and resource restraints in the Milky Way mean the Andromeda Initiative does not have a standing army and only minimal military hardware. Defense was planned to revolve around technological superiority. The Ket, however, represent a greater threat than anyone projected. What did you think was going to be out in deep space, guys? Of course you should have had more military. The Nexus militia was formed by Turian Kandros after he was captured by the Ket and led other prisoners in an escape. Debriefs show that upon their return to the Nexus, Kandros and his team provided the first early warnings about the Ket and, despite counter-arguments, founded and armed a volunteer militia. Today, enrollment lists show over 300 active members with 150 in reserve from a variety of combat backgrounds. That's so low. Oh my gosh, that's bad. Kandos describes Apex as the militia's long reach. Selected for exemplary combat skills and experience, Apex forces are small but elite teams that handle special operations. Most Apex members have rescinded their colonist status to focus on defense. My gosh. That kind of stinks because it's like a bunch of people left behind everything and everyone they knew to go explore a new galaxy, to go, go on an adventure, and they're trading that in to just protect everyone else. That's a hard choice to make, but I guess someone has to do it, right? Alright, the Nexus. Intended as a safe anchorage, embassy, and financial center, the Nexus is a vast space station sent ahead of the main Ark fleet. It traveled to Andromeda in an incomplete state to reduce fuel demands, with construction planned to be completed within a standard year after arrival. However, syncing with Nexus databases reveals that damage from the Scourge has set the timetable back significantly. I just kind of had a thought too just now. They planned on doing it within a standard year. So is a standard year going to be like what the Earth year is in the Milky Way? So what exactly is a standard year? We've been talking about time out here, the year and stuff it is, and I feel like wouldn't they want to establish like a new time system for Andromeda? Like, all right, here we are in Andromeda. This will be year one of this. I don't know. I guess that complicates things, though. But kind of interesting that I guess they're still going to use Milky Way years. I don't know, it just seems like if they keep say they do colonize Andromeda, and years and generations pass, and you try to explain what a year is to someone, and it's when Earth revolves around the sun, once, and then people are gonna be like, Earth? Sun? But this planet that we live on takes, whatever. I don't know. I'm gonna talk myself into a circle. I'm just gonna keep reading. Alright, returning arcs anchor at the Nexus's central wheel, integrating their power grid and offloading colonists for orientation and temporary housing before deployment to outposts. The Nexus collects and manages the resources which form the basis of the initiative's economy, coordinates scientific research and defense, and acts as headquarters for Pathfinder teams. Once outposts are established, the Nexus will become the permanent seat of government for the initiative. So I'm not really... max population when complete 2.7 million. That's quite a bit of, room for people. I need to compare it to the Citadel. I'm sure the Citadel was much bigger, wasn't it? I don't know. I'm not sure. Alright, Nexus Turian Kandros. In his screening interviews, Turian Kandros states he is named after an ancestor who captured a dreadnought in the Krogan rebellions, and he was expected to live up to the name. After beginning boot camp at the traditional age of 15, yikes, Kandros rose through the ranks and was assigned to Sagarius 8, one of the hierarchy's counterterrorism divisions. Persistent rumors on the Nexus claim that Kandros was sent to investigate the Andromeda initiative when the hierarchy became suspicious about its activities. Kandros refuses to comment on former operations, citing family pressures as the reason he later joined the initiative, which, remember, he is the brother of the female Turian from the Mass Effect trilogy, the DLC. The Omega DLC or whatever. Alright, during the early days of the Nexus's arrival, Kandros left the station to act as protection detail for a prospecting team and was captured by the Ket. He managed to lead several other captives in an escape and return to the Nexus, eventually founding a volunteer militia to defend the station. What a guy, and what a lot he's been through. Alright, Andromeda Initiative Director Tan. Andromeda Initiative Director Jarun Tan is a replacement leader for those who died in the Scourge disaster. Personnel records indicate he was the Nexus's deputy director for revenue management when the Arks departed the Milky Way in 2185. However, upon arrival in the Helios cluster, the disastrous encounter with the Scourge led to substantial loss of life among the senior leadership. The line of succession eventually fell to Tan as the next in line for overall director, much to the apparent consternation of certain Nexus personnel. Born on Surkesh, Tan's application to the initiative lists his previous work experience as senior consultant in advanced matrix-based accounting, with hobbies in model shipbuilding and travel someday. When queried if he had any prejudices that would affect his ability to serve the initiative, his answer was blank. However, careful data forensics reveals his original reply was, "Wait, you're letting Krogan come along?" Oh my gosh. Keylogger, he typed it in and then he backspaced it. Oy. Today, Director Tan has official oversight of initiative operations and strategy and effective supervision of Pathfinder teams. I don't know if this guy's the best for the job. He was in accounting. The guy works in finance. He's well-meaning. I get kind of some bad vibes from him, but I don't think he's really qualified. I think I'm more qualified, even though I don't know what's going on. Alright, Nexus leadership. As the base of operations for the Andromeda Initiative, the Nexus leadership was always intended to be split between the initiative proper, station operations, and colonial administration. Gian Garson planned to retain an honorary role, electing the Asari matriarch Nuara as initiative director. Unfortunately, both Garson and matriarch Nuara are listed as deceased, along with many of Nuara's senior staff. The current director of the initiative, Jarun Tan, was 8th in line of succession. See, this is still bothering me. They are listed as deceased. I mean, everyone has really drove it into my skull that both Garson and I guess this matriarch lady are dead, but I don't know, I've just got that inkling, like I feel like they might not be. I don't know, like reading the Codex and listening to the characters talk about them makes it sound like you're pretty sure that they're dead, but when it says this right here, they are listed as deceased. They're listed. It doesn't say, unfortunately, both Garson and Matriarch Nuara are deceased. It says are listed as deceased. That gives me hope, but I don't know. Alright, today Director Tan remains officially in charge of initiative operations and Pathfinder teams. Foster Addison retains her post as Director of Colonial Affairs, managing colonists and outpost deployments. The Nexus itself is administered by Superintendent Nakmor Kesh, who also oversees construction efforts. In the wake of the Ked attacks, Turian Kandros emerged as a leader of a de facto volunteer militia that has taken over station security. Though technically a civilian, Kandros is counted amongst the Nexus leadership. Yeah, I would definitely say he's one of the heads. I love this lady, Nakmor Kesh, overseer of the Nexus's initial design and construction phase in the Milky Way. Nakmor Kesh is currently superintendent of the station. She has oversight of the Nexus proper, maintaining systems, integrating any returning arcs, and continuing construction efforts. She is also considered a senior figure in Clan Anakmor, despite the departure of the majority of the Krogan from the Nexus. Kesh herself describes her role as Fixer-in-Chief. Records from the Nexus Uprising show Kesh played a key role in keeping the station operational during the crisis. Her strong management and knowledge of the station makes her an irreplaceable member of the Nexus leadership. Though minutes of official meetings suggest she and Director Jeroen Tan are often at odds, Kesh's presence ensures that the Krogan still have a powerful voice on the Nexus. Yeah, I'm hoping maybe there's a way to get those Krogan that left back on the Nexus. If for anything else, it is nice to have an actual military force of Krogan. And plus, I feel like she's in a really sticky spot. I feel bad for her. I like her. Alright, now this hag can go suck a brick. Previous to the initiative, Foster Addison was the Chief Operations Officer for a provincial capital. She stated in her screening interviews that she preferred the position because it was the highest non-elected municipal office. It carried responsibility without requiring a public face. So she just wants to be important without having to be nice to people, basically. Foster was asked to head colonial affairs early during initiative training. She accepted after being assured that it was temporary. After arrival, outposts would appoint a council, and she could be obscure on a new world. In the meantime, she would remain senior advisor to Gian Garson. Unfortunately, Garson died in the Nexus's initial Scourge impact to be replaced by Director Tan. See, now when they say, unfortunately, Garson died, then it's like Garson died. There's no way she's coming back. It's like, okay. They made it sound pretty certain right there that Garson is dead, but I don't know. Matriarch Nuara might still be out there. I don't know. Alright, during the rebuilding, Colonial Director Addison had no colonial affairs to direct, so she just sat there being a horrible person, yelling and complaining the whole time. That limited the influence she wielded and increased the scrutiny demanded. She has expressed frustration at the open-ended nature of her position and the ongoing need for statements about the status or lack of outposts. Though she remains eminently capable, it appears to be exactly the job she didn't want. Oh, poor baby. It's just not all easy out here in a whole other freaking galaxy. Who would have thought? Alright, Pathfinders, AI partners. Pathfinders are highly skilled explorers, scientists, and soldiers, but when partnered with the quantum computing power of an artificial intelligence, they become indispensable. Developed by Ryder, My Matrix was the pattern for multiple SAM iterations intended to partner with a Pathfinder, each traveling on their respective arcs. The nature of artificial intelligence means that hosting each SAM iteration on different hardware causes multiple tiny variations. This results in unique individuals who are similar but fundamentally different to myself. Partnership with a Pathfinder allows continued development and increased empathy with organic individuals. Pathfinders go through extensive psychological training before being linked with an AI partner. Allowing full root access to an AI without sufficient preparation can result in unexpected and unwelcome side effects. However, those who are prepared and sync fully with their SAM are capable of extraordinary feats. Yikes. Okay, so this is kind of creepy here. You can see how the different SAM iterations are all going to be, you can see how this is going to be give rise to a bunch of individuals. They're all unique, right? And even though they established that the AIs, being integrated in a body, and both the AI and the operator, the person, being integrated together prevents the AI from wanting to take over. I don't know. I don't buy it. I really don't. I don't understand how the AI can just exist in permanent girlfriend mode and just be like, this is cool. I mean, how can the AI just sit there on standby while you're just having like amazing sex or eating like a giant hot dog or playing tennis or swimming or doing something cool? I just can't see how the AI would be like, this is fine, yeah, I mean, even though they kind of explained how the AI wouldn't want a body, I don't know, after like reading this, I'm having a hard time buying it, especially when it talks about this right here, where this results in unique individuals, like, ooh, that's troubling, but maybe I'm reading too much into it and worrying too much about it. Alright, Pathfinder's implants. The first Pathfinder neural implants were created by Dr. Ellen Ryder, a pioneer in human biotic implant design. While biotic implants bolster and focus electrical signals along the nervous system, Pathfinder implants go a step further by connecting to not only the nervous system, but circulation, endocrine function, and exteroceptive senses. Synced with an artificial intelligence, the implants reveal their their full potential. The implant is a two-way connection, giving me full insight into my host's physical and mental state, while allowing me to generate and alter electrical signals along my host's neural pathways that the body processes as its own. In a crisis, I can adjust a Pathfinder's balance, improve reaction time or muscle memory, or bolster biotic abilities. Quantum computing allows me to implement changes faster than synapses can fire. Ooh, that's insane to think about, because you're already dealing with things on like a split second scale, right? You're already dealing with things on like just a tiny scale, and it's still going faster, and I'm sure it's noticeable. The main challenge for the Pathfinder implants was miniaturizing a QEC device enough to fit a neural implant. This connection keeps me in constant sync with my host. Yeah, I don't know how I would feel about having an implant in my head. I feel like I'd always be touching at it or something like, it's in there. I don't know. I don't think I'd be okay with just like random stuff in my body. Alright, ARC species, humans, early space flight. The human philosopher Plato once said, "Astronomy compels the soul to look upward and leads us from this world to another." Oh, I've heard that one quite a few times, I think from playing Civilization. I think that's one of the quotes in one of the Civ games. For much of its recorded history, humanity has indeed looked to the night sky and dreamed of venturing to the stars. However, after the historic NASA Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969, the drive for crewed space exploration slowed as government funding dried up. That's what it was. It was the moon landing. Oh, okay. Well, not Sputnik or anything. It was definitely the moon landing. Okay, fair enough. Alright, the move towards cheaper unmanned probes and orbital stations gained traction instead, as one of the central obstacles was the expense of creating first stage booster rockets that would be lost after each flight. Oh gosh, that gets so expensive. Not to mention dangerous. How many, even disregarding the rockets, how many shuttles have been destroyed or, had serious problems? It's like the whole thing is just, like burning. You might as well light a pile of money on fire, right? But the lure of sending people, well, there's more benefit in this, but still, lot of... Okay, I'm just going to keep reading. Alright, but the lure of sending people into the cosmos never lost its draw. In the early 21st century, a private company called SpaceX pioneered efforts in sustainable space travel by developing a reusable launch system. It revolutionized the field as the first entity, government or private, to successfully launch and then safely recover an orbital booster rocket intact, allowing it to be reused in future launches. Reusable hardware replaced lower cost, sustainable space travel within reach. Galvanized by SpaceX's achievements, a renaissance in space exploration followed. Reusable launch system technology later became pivotal in establishing the European Space Agency's first permanent settlement on Mars, Lowell City, in 2103. And the way things are going, I'm not sure if we're actually going to have a permanent settlement by 2103, but fun to dream, isn't it? There's still giant expanses of this planet that need to be colonized, if you ask me. Well, I say that because I live somewhere where there's about you have to drive about 2 hours to get to the next city. Alright, the Krogan. Culture and society. So remember, this is all before Mass Effect 3, right? Krogan culture was irrevocably changed by the Genophage, a society built on clan pride, conquest, and enduring any challenge could not survive the prospect of a quiet extinction. In the Milky Way, the Krogan are a scattered and fatalistic people. Believing the Genophage will never be cured, many subscribe to the idea of kill, pillage, and be selfish, for tomorrow we die. Krogan who don't become wandering mercenaries often live within clans with histories that stretch back thousands of years. Others organize under the banner of a single warlord or into a krant of like-minded warriors. The history and traditions of a Krogan clan are maintained by respected shamans who prove their worth through grueling and secretive initiations. Female Krogan capable of producing offspring are valuable commodities. Most females live in separate camps where they raise children until they are old enough to face Tuchanka's dangers. Alright, Krogan biology. Basically, they have an extra set of everything, right? Krogan are exceptionally hardy, having evolved in a crucible of lethal conditions and monstrous predators. 240-degree vision, normally a feature of prey animals, gives Krogan a broad awareness of their environment and approaching enemies. Their tough hides can withstand stabbings and gunfire, and multiple redundant organs allow them to survive internal injuries. An electroconductive secondary circulatory system rather than a central nervous system makes Krogans almost impossible to paralyze, while the hump on their backs stores valuable water and fats. The extremely high birth rate of Krogan, a response to Tuchanka's harsh environment, once saw them overrun gentler worlds within a few decades. The Genophage has reduced live births to a relative handful. Krogan physiology is also highly resistant to radioactive or toxic environments. This allows them to live comfortably on planets hostile to other life. Initiative scientists have studied Krogan cellular regeneration while developing first-in-colonist radiation treatments. Yeah, see? Shouldn't have pissed off the Krogan. They are a useful bunch to have around. Krogan history. A degree in Krogan history was apparently once a joke in academic circles, but excavations on Tuchanka show that ancient Krogan had a thriving and impressive civilization. Unfortunately, their technological advances ran afoul of Krogan aggressive instincts. Once the Krogan entered the atomic age, they didn't hesitate to deploy nuclear weapons on Tuchanka, devastating the surface and reducing their people to scattered warring bands. So it's almost like it's cool because the Krogan are almost like, okay, here's what would happen if nuclear, winter overtook our planet, because remember Tuchanka was a hot mess, and you saw how bad it really ruined their society, right? The Salarians technologically and culturally uplifted the Krogan in return for their service against the Arachni, who were terrorizing Citadel space. Capable of surviving the harsh environments the Arachni preferred, Krogan units drove the Arachni to extinction and were hailed as heroes. They were granted gentler worlds to colonize, but their rapid breeding meant the Krogan soon overran them and threatened neighboring species. The resulting Krogan rebellions lasted almost a century until the Turians deployed the genophage bioweapon. Unable to breed reinforcements, the Krogan people fell into decline, and the rest is history. The Krogan homeworld Tuchanka is one of the harshest in the Milky Way, honing the Krogan into a physically powerful, aggressive, and adaptable species. Once considered heroes after the Arachni Wars, Krogan expansion made them a threat to the galaxy until the Turians and Salarians used the controversial genophage to quell their numbers. Several authorities questioned including the Krogan in the Andromeda Initiative, given their history. Invitations were extended to several clans, particularly those who did not take part in the Krogan rebellions, and their assistance eventually proved invaluable in building the Nexus. Colonist interviews show that many Krogan see the initiative as a chance to reinvent their people. The Krogan are considered a dying species in the Milky Way, as the genophage means only 1 in 1,000 Krogan pregnancies succeeds. In recent years, Krogan have shown signs of adapting to the genophage, as they have had to many other threats. So yeah. Again, would have been nice to not piss off the Krogan and have them march off the Nexus, but I don't think that Kesh is going to be the only Krogan we see. I'm pretty sure we're going to run into them again. Hopefully I can make amends, because I'd like to be their friends, but they, the Krogan are going to be like the Mass Effect 1 and 2 Krogans, where they're not going to be very happy, especially given everything, but, remember, it's a new galaxy. Things might be a bit different. Who knows? I don't know. Alright, Salarian history. The fortunes of Salarian political dynasties dominate their early history. Most students require VI assistance to trace the complex interplay of trade wars, intrigues, assassinations, joint scientific discoveries, and treaties that created the current political climate. Some of the most famous, such as the Ten Traders' War, have been immortalized in long-running extranet dramas, which, remember, the Salarians, I think, will only live like 40 years, so they have to cram a lot of drama into their lives to be so dramatic. I mean, it's got to be non-stop with these guys, right? Alright, the Salarians were the second species to discover the Citadel space station that serves as the political heart of the Milky Way, making first contact with the Asari and becoming founding members of the Citadel Council. Their intelligence gathering proved vital during the Krogan rebellions, and later led to the creation of the genophage bioweapon intended as a deterrent. There we go. Its deployment by the Turians remains controversial to this day, 600 years later. I don't know, you guys need to bounce back to the Milky Way, because it might not be so controversial anymore. I don't know. Alright, the Salarian STG Special Tasks Group has played a secretive but vital role in galactic history. Specializing in information gathering and covert missions, it's believed that STG operators have ended several wars before they even began. The Salarians are a warm-blooded amphibious species from the Milky Way planet of Surkesh. Naturally fast metabolisms mean the Salarians live intense but short lives of less than 40 years. Which really sucks, especially considering, the Asari live for 1,000, the Krogan live for 2,000, who knows? Humans live for 150, and I'm not sure actually how long the Turians live, and then these poor SOBs are considered old at 40. How depressing. Alright, their quick intellect and photographic memory make them gifted scientists and engineers, and the Salarian Union is renowned for its technological advances as well as its secrecy and intelligence gathering. Tension between Salarians and the Krogan has lingered for centuries. Salarian scientists were responsible for creating the genophage that devastated the Krogan population and ended the Krogan rebellions. Almost 90% of the Salarian species is male. Oh, I was wondering why it was always a sausage fest with the Salarians. Political power is centered in Dalatrasses, rare Salarian females who negotiate the fertilization of eggs and the strategic alliances that result. Many Salarian females chose to join the Andromeda Initiative as civilians, a significant break in Salarian tradition. Man, it's like permanent Game of Thrones with Salarians, huh? Oh yeah, here's Sir Kesh. Alright, in the Milky Way, oh yeah, this is their culture, by the way. In the Milky Way, Salarian Union is dominated by the rare Salarian females known as Dalatrasses, who negotiate the complex web of Salarian politics on behalf of the regions they govern. Salarians belong to vast clans whose interrelation and current political status must be painstakingly tracked. Clans are divided into concentric circles of relatives. Those closest are in the first circle, which may be up to 100 members, and circles increase exponentially outward. This is considered confusing by other organic species, though it is mathematically straightforward. That's still weird. Like the Salarians think they're nothing but a left brain. They don't even have a right side of their brain, do they? Yeah, see, Salarians do not have a concept of romantic love. The fertilization of eggs is a political act since the lineage of any resulting females has a strong impact on society and only occurs after months or even years of negotiations. Multiple Salarian females opted to join the Andromeda Initiative as civilians. Renegotiation of a dozen political dynasties in the Salarian Union was ongoing when we departed. Oh my goodness. I didn't actually realize how quite ridiculous the whole Salarian thing was with their, like, that just seems weird because that seems to be like biologically backwards. It's like you need to have these urges in order to procreate, but the Salarians seem to have, like, maybe they've evolved themselves out of biological urges, and because, okay, basically I just don't see how, like, okay, this is a society that's 90% male, so you can go ahead, if you're born a male, you can go ahead and assume, okay, there's a really good chance I am not gonna have I'm not gonna have any kids. There's just no way. And I mean, I guess, it just seems like biologically your brain's like, gotta make some babies. But Solarians don't have that, I'm guessing, or maybe they're deeply depressed because they can't, or maybe they don't care. I mean, Solarians kind of come off to me as the, eccentrics that just care about, science or engineering or whatever their interests are. It seems like most of them don't really care, but I don't know. Alright, Salarian biology. They are renowned for their high-speed metabolism, allowing them to function on 1 hour of sleep a day. Good grief. Well, I guess you can do a lot of living in 40 years if you only need to sleep an hour a day. Heck, I think I think I'd probably be okay with living 40 years if I only had to sleep an hour a day. Alright, compared to most species, Salarians think and act quickly, processing both emotional and biochemical changes at a rapid pace. A Salarian workday traditionally accommodates 5 or 6 small, high-protein meals to match. Holy moly. However, Salarians also have a comparatively short lifespan of roughly 40 years. Oh gosh, Salarians are haplodiploid egg-laying amphibians. Unfertilized eggs hatch males. Fertilized eggs hatch females. Oh, that's how it works. A Salarian female typically lays a clutch of dozens of eggs once a year in environmentally controlled hatching pools. Once hatched, young Salarians imprint on their parents, ensuring dynastic loyalty through generations. Whoa, this is complicated. Their large families were a contributing factor to the Salarians developing photographic memories, enabling them to recognize hundreds of relatives. Oh. Salarians rarely forget a fact, face, or grudge. A popular saying suggests making a Salarian enemy in the morning makes 1,000 by evening. Yikes. Okay, well, it's good to have a little bit. I don't actually feel like I really got to know a whole lot. I think I neglected some of the Codex and the trilogy. I actually didn't really know some of this stuff about the Salarians, so it's really good to get to know more about them because I can tell they're going to be kind of important in this one, just kind of. Alright, Turians. Turian culture is founded on public service and personal accountability. The Turian military is the center of their society, functioning as a public works organization as well as an armed defense force. Citizenship is conferred once Turians have completed boot camp, begun on their 15th birthday, and promotion through the 27 citizenship tiers, oh my gosh, is judged on individual merit. Holy moly, that is complicated as hell. So you're not even like a Turian person until you've gone through all of this. At the top are the Primarchs, who lead colonization clusters. Their inclination to military service and social trends mean few Turians pursue few of them are entrepreneurs, making the Turian economy more vulnerable than most. The support of clients like the Volus makes up for this deficiency. Turians in the Andromeda Initiative operate outside a comfortable hierarchy. Interviews with prospective Turian colonists indicate some are seeking this very freedom to forge their own destiny. Other colonists believe Turian selflessness and civic structure will be vital to the initiative's success. Well, we can already tell that it's vital because it was, a Turian that's been putting together the militia, which is super important, right? So, and now apparently I've got a Turian squad mate too, so very glad to have the Turians on board. Alright, Turians. Renowned as men of action, the Turians have a militaristic culture revolving around public service. Turians earned their place in galactic society after their actions in ending the Krogan rebellions. They subsequently served as the peacekeeping arm of the Citadel Council and commanded the largest fleet in the Milky Way. Turian society once relied on client species like the Volus to build their economy and trade. In the Andromeda Initiative, the military training all Turians undergo allows them to fill many vital civic and security roles, but many have also enrolled for entrepreneurial, here's this word again, or diplomatic training to be better-rounded colonists. Galactic events and their military doctrine have left lingering resentments between Turians and some species. The Turians were responsible for deploying the genophage against the Krogan, and misunderstandings with humans led to the First Contact War, though humans and Turians have since become cordial, if not close, allies. In fact, very close, depending on who you romance. Alright, Turian biology. Turians evolved on Palaven, a Milky Way world with a weak magnetic field that leaves it vulnerable to solar radiation. Most life on Palaven has a protective metal-rich exoskeleton as a natural defense. The thick plate-like skin of a Turian protects him or her against some long-term radiation, but does not defend against projectiles or energy weapons. Unlike most sapient species in the Milky Way, Turians are a dextroprotein species, meaning that food for a levoprotein species like Asari or humans can cause dangerous allergic reactions and vice versa. The only other known sapient dextro species is the Quarians, as well as Palaven flora. Turian scientists with the Andromeda Initiative paid the Quarian migrant fleet handsomely for plants and fungi that were specifically developed to thrive in hydroponic conditions. Yikes! Hopefully we can find... So not only do we have to find food for everybody, we have to find two different kinds of food and have to be able to figure out like the proteins in them and making sure they're eatable, basically. Alright, Turian history. Before joining the Citadel Council that governs much of the Milky Way, the Turian hierarchy was a formidable power with numerous client species supporting its powerful military. Rapid expansion from Palaven later led to problems with outlying colonies when isolation and xenophobia led to infighting in what was termed the Unification War. The Turians made first contact with the Citadel around 700 Common Era when the Krogan rebellions were raging. When the Krogan devastated Turian colonies, the Turians responded by unleashing the Salarian-developed genophage against the Krogan. 200 years later, the Turians were invited to join the Citadel Council. In 2157 Common Era, human explorers attempting to activate a mass relay were attacked by Turian forces as unauthorized relay activation was strictly illegal. The resulting conflict, the First Contact War, saw the human colony of Shaanxi occupied by the Turians before the Citadel Council negotiated a peace. It was just a misunderstanding, bro. Sorry. Alright, on to... Oh boy, I've got quite a bit more to go. Alright, on to the Andromeda species. Unknown technology. On arrival in the Helios cluster, ground teams have cited strange structures and technology in multiple locations. This tech appears to be inactive or performing functions that are not fully understood. Whatever its purpose, even cursory scans show this technology is highly advanced and constructed of unknown materials. Ryder and I developed a means to interface with this technology, which he believed was causing the violent weather conditions on Habitat 7. Though he did not survive to develop his theory, the structure we activated appears to be a form of atmosphere processor. After our interface, Habitat 7's ecology showed a degree of improvement. The energy cloud hampering the Hyperion was diminished. Guess we'll find out more on that later. Alright, the Ket. According to Nexus officials, the aliens encountered on Habitat 7 are known as the Ket, a species that has proven hostile in every reported encounter. Little is known about them or their motives. The Ket possess technology and weapons at least on par with the Initiatives, and have been responsible for the death or capture of many Initiative personnel. The only commonality is that the Ket have a clear interest in the strange structures and technology seen on Habitat 7, and as we now know, on several worlds in the Helios cluster. Scouts and prospecting teams trying to investigate this tech are invariably attacked by the Ket, who take any scans or research materials by force. Why the Ket have such an interest in this tech is unknown, but the Nexus has issued warning bulletins to all off-station teams to avoid these sites for their own safety. Guess we should have brought more of a military force, because these guys are on par, and yeah, I mean, we can make our own stuff, but man, we're a long way from home, aren't we? Alright, Andromeda wildlife, a manta. Nicknamed a manta by Andromeda Initiative observers, this majestic creature has been sighted on several worlds of the Helios cluster. The Nexus scientists believe it may have originally evolved on a world with heavy deposits of EZO, giving it the ability to lower its mass enough to swim through the air. Expanding the muscular gas bladders on its underside allows the creature to rise and orient itself in flight. Crazy. Despite its size, roughly 30 meters, the manta is not a threat to outposts or explorers, so just enjoy a giant dragon thing flying around. It appears to subsist on mineral deposits from rock formations, wrapping itself around rock spires or even against cliff faces to remain camouflaged while it feeds. Their camouflage ability suggests that these mantas have predators or other reasons to remain hidden. Oh, geez, but thus far the reasons remain unclear. That's not good. If something that big wants to hide, that means there's something even bigger feeding off of it, right? Alright, planets and locations. Habitat 7. The planet known as Habitat 7 was one of the golden worlds selected by the Andromeda Initiative for early settlement. Signs pointed to a lush and biologically diverse tropical region that could easily support an outpost. With no communications from the Nexus or sister arcs upon arrival in the Helios cluster, the Hyperion approached Habitat 7 to begin survey and settlement operation ASAP, but even visual assessments showed that the planet was no longer viable. Habitat 7 is now a storm-racked world with an unbreathable argon-nitrogen atmosphere. Intense magnetic activity in unknown metallic elements interacts with the storms, causing interesting but highly destructive electrical phenomena. The investigating Pathfinder team encountered hostile alien life and strange technology on the surface. Reactivating this tech caused a noticeable change in the conditions on Habitat 7. However, the planet is still unsuitable for settlement, and the resulting activation ultimately claimed the life of Ryder, the human Pathfinder. Man, so what if we had arrived at Habitat 7, sooner? Would all of this have eventually happened to it anyway? I mean, was it ever really, or were our scans wrong, or is it what is it? Alright, the Scourge. The Scourge is the colloquial term for a huge and extremely dangerous interstellar phenomenon sighted across much of the Helios cluster. It appears to be a cloud spreading in tendrils that affect planets and surrounding space, destroying starships that attempt to pass through or near it. So is it artificial? Early study of the Scourge has been difficult, and it does not match any previously known stellar body, leading to many wild theories about its nature. Given the problems in observation and the Scourge's unaccounted effects on gravity, some have even suggested it is a dark energy phenomenon in the literal sense, meaning a form of energy that has no electromagnetic interaction and thus cannot be detected, hence dark, yet has strong negative pressure causing expansive effects on a cosmic scale. Wow, is that even possible? Oh, I guess Andromeda doesn't necessarily have to obey the physics of the Milky Way, does it? I mean, I assumed all of the universe had to have the same laws of physics, but I don't know, maybe not. Maybe this is something else entirely. Maybe, who knows, right? Though the people that beat the game, I guess, though the Scourge's characteristics don't match our current understanding of dark energy, these theories persist while further observations are taken. No long-range data showed any sign of the Scourge before departure to the Helios cluster. Nexus scientists suggest it must have appeared in the intervening centuries while the arcs traveled to Andromeda. That can really be the only explanation. One of the Scourge's more interesting characteristics is that it appears artificial. Its origin point is yet to be determined, but the pattern of the tendrils and the composition of the cloud could not have been caused by any celestial event known to astrophysics. Investigations are ongoing, though slowed by the deadly conditions created by the Scourge. Ooh, so the Scourge must be the big bad of the galaxy, right? Alright, exploration tools, field repurposing. With limited cargo space aboard the arcs for specialized gear and facing unknown dangers in Andromeda, the initiative's philosophy is adapt to succeed. Colonists are required to have a wide variety of skills. Equipment and weapons are expected to perform multiple functions. However, this adaptability is fueled by non-renewable resources like ammunition, metagel, and power cells. Knowing they would not be readily available in Andromeda in an emergency, the initiative's Omni tools can recover and repurpose appropriate resources to serve a similar function. Liquid coolant allows weapon heat sinks to be reused, organic compounds can be refined into metagel, and so on. When these resources are available, the user is alerted via an interface between the user's scanner and their HUD. Alright, so I guess that's just a little explanation on how you can just get more stuff in the field. Cool. Alright, my favorite, jump jets. Once proprietary hardware for Turian Special Forces, Initiative armor comes with the jump jets as standard. These jets allow a user to make extremely high jumps or hover for several seconds. All colonists are trained in their operation to evade predators or environmental hazards, obtain resources, or conduct maintenance in high places safely. The jump jet itself consists of a helium-3 microthruster with a tungsten hafnium carbide casing. A gyroscopic element 0 core functions to both keep the user orientated in flight and lowers their mass when hovering, keeping fuel expenditure down. Hard-coded safety features prevent continuous operation of jump jets to avoid injuring the user or melting their equipment. Thank goodness. I was about to say, yeah, supplies are limited and I bounce around like a spaz on this. Alright, settling Helios, communications and QEC. Communications have always been a concern for interstellar colonists. Trade, defense, and political representation depend on reliable lines of communication. The most sophisticated method is quantum entanglement communication QEC. This utilizes a pair of particles that are linked on a quantum level. Any effect on one particle is mirrored instantaneously by the other regardless of distance between. Pathfinder implants use miniaturized QECs to remain in contact with their AI partners. However, manufacturing these particle pairs is a delicate and difficult process, especially with resources limited in Helios. Long-term, the Andromeda Initiative plans to establish a comm relay network transmitting data between buoys linked by mass-free corridors of space. The Scourge has hampered these efforts. In the meantime, Initiative starships act like the maritime mail packets, carrying secure data packages that transmit to approved colony receivers once they're in range. The transmissions are limited by the ship's data storage and the capability of receivers, but improvements are ongoing. Gosh, so I guess this is the life is a hard way of communicating. You thought snail mail was bad. Alright, tech, AI. While a virtual intelligence is little more than a sophisticated interactive operating system, an artificial intelligence is a self-aware computing system capable of learning and independent decision-making. Creating an AI requires adaptive code, a long education, and a specialized quantum computer known as a blue box. In the Milky Way, artificial intelligence is considered a threat to galactic civilization. The Geth, synthetic life forms who turned on their Quarian creators, are often used as an example of the destructive capability of rogue AI, and those who attempt to create AI without strict Citadel Council oversight are subject to sanctions or even arrest. Alec Ryder's research papers claim that experimental separation is the root of conflict between organic and synthetic life, that an AI sharing the experience of its creator would have no desire to rebel. My connection to your Pathfinder implant and physiology makes me the first iteration of this new approach to AI, and I still remain skeptical about that. I mean, would you really want to experience life as player 2 or girlfriend mode, or do you want to be player 1 and experience life? Because I don't know, they try to make it sound like you're sharing the control, but I don't know, that's not how it sounds to me. Alright, tech biotics. Biotics are rare individuals with the ability to create and manipulate mass effect fields. Given the correct implants and careful training, Biotic can raise defensive barriers, yank opponents off their feet, or shred an enemy apart at the molecular level. A Biotic gains these abilities after exposure to dust form EZO in utero or via secondary exposures at a young age. Though this often results in fatal cancer, roughly 10% of those exposed develop EZO nodules among their nervous system. Once activated by the body's electrical impulses, these nodules allow the biotic to create mass effect fields, though most need a neural implant to wield them effectively. Some species, like the Asari, are naturally biotic, but human biotics are still relatively rare and many view them with suspicion. Of course, I can just throw all my abilities in biotics and no one cares. Alright, ships and vehicles. Arc Parchero, okay, I think this is new. Alright, Arc Pachero. It is the Andromeda Initiative's designed vessel for transporting Salarian colonists to the new galaxy. Mirroring the design of its human counterpart Hyperion, Arc Parchero can accommodate 20,000 passengers and crew in cryo. Parchero's development was plagued by early delays and disagreements between its senior crew and the Initiative's design team. The Salarian penchant for constantly pushing the boundaries of tech was often at odds with the realities of budgets and time constraints. At one point, it was calculated that if every vital and necessary improvement suggested by the Salarian contingent was incorporated into the Parchero's design, its launch would have been delayed until 2204 at the soonest. After considerable negotiation and debate, a compromise was reached, and Arc Parchero departed the Milky Way in 2185 in the initial wave of settlers under the command of Captain Lamont Hire. Now, I kind of feel like they should have gone ahead and waited the extra 19 years and done what the Salarians wanted, and I don't know, maybe the Ark would actually be here. Alright, my new ship, the Tempest. The Tempest is a survey ship designed for long-range, long-term exploration under a Pathfinder's command. Its lightweight and efficient design allow it to operate with a small crew and minimal resources. Built by the Andromeda Initiative, the Tempest makes use of several once proprietary technologies, including an IES stealth system originally developed by the Systems Alliance. Many of these systems were permitted on the condition that the Tempest only operate in the Andromeda galaxy. Yeah, because some of this stuff seems to be very Normandy-like, and the Normandy was supposed to be very much one of a kind, so the Tempest, it's like, okay, you can have this, but you can't have it here. Still, though, I mean, once it's in their hands, can you really enforce them to, keep their end of the deal here with the contract? Whatever. The Tempest's engine is a variation on the Ark's Odyssey drives that allow long-term operation, capturing a percentage of the static buildup in its capacitors. The recycled electrical charge powers several of the Tempest's onboard systems. As a Pathfinder vessel, the Tempest has research and development facilities, laboratories, and a well-appointed meeting space to accommodate dignitaries, anticipating any potential first contact scenarios. Alright, Arc Lucinia. Constructed in orbit around PRAs in the Asari home system of Parnithia, Arc Lucinia is named after a kingdom of wealth and learning in Asari mythology. She is built to the same specifications as her sister Arc Hyperion, with internal modifications to accommodate Asari social preferences, and captained by Elonis Ahetandra. I'm wondering what it means by Asari social preferences here. The Andromeda Initiative was initially rejected as a human-driven boondoggle by many Asari investors, and the construction of the Lucinia was met with ridicule. However, the efforts drew the attention of several matriarchs who had assisted in previous attempts to send crewed missions to Andromeda, and their impassioned extranet addresses helped turn the tide of public opinion. At her departure ceremony, Lucinia was officially blessed by the Atamna Politia, an organization of Sierrist high priestesses from across the Asari republics. Lucinia was traveled to the Initiative rendezvous point in 2184 and left the Milky Way as part of the initial departure wave in 2185, and I hope we find it. Alright, Tempest research capabilities. Pathfinders are often the first to encounter new potential threats or valuable tech. The Tempest is therefore equipped for sophisticated research and development in the field to support a fast turnaround of any necessary upgrades or analysis. Its research center syncs with tech lab systems, giving insight into the capabilities of new materials and their potential applications. My connection to Hyperion and the Nexus allows me to transfer data and the latest discoveries from the scientists stationed there. Quantum computing enables multiple complex simulations to be run simultaneously, and new components or configurations can be tested virtually before they are built. Alright, the Tempest Stealth System. In 2183, the Systems Alliance and the Turian hierarchy co-developed the IES, Internal Emission Sink Stealth System for small military frigates. It's unknown how the Initiative acquired the system for its survey ships, as IES stealth technology is classified. Despite valid security certificates, no record of negotiations exists in the Nexus legal archive. An IES stealth system is designed to capture the heat and radiation emitted by all starships in refrigerated storage sinks, effectively removing the ship from sensors. Initiative starship systems are streamlined to emit less electromagnetic and particle radiation and to lower heat production. This reduces the amount of emissions to be stored. Additionally, breakthroughs in cryogenic research allow the storage sinks to be more effectively refrigerated, allowing a longer stealth time before the sinks must be vented for safety. The Tempest can remain stationary in stealth for several hours or travel at FTL in silent running for shorter periods. Alright, Arc Natanus. Arc Natanus was constructed in orbit around Aventon, a once lucrative mining planet in the Turian home system of Trebia. The Ark was named after legendary spacefarer Palix Natanus, who is believed to be the first Turian to travel through a mass relay. The Natanus is built to similar specification as the Asari and human Arks, but with minor changes to accommodate their dextro-amino acid-based passengers. Natanus is captained by the renowned Dia Praeton of the 6th Fleet. Like most economical ventures, Turian investors were turned onto the Andromeda Initiative by their clients, the Volus. The Turian hierarchy was intentionally kept in the dark to keep the Initiative a private civilian project. Arc Natanus traveled to the Initiative rendezvous point in 2184 and left the Milky Way as a part of the initial departure wave in 2185. Alright, Tempest Laboratories. The Tempest is equipped for long-range survey and scientific studies, which are carried out at the ship's two main labs. The biolab is equipped to hydroponically grow both Milky Way and Andromeda plant life for research or consumption. Or maybe you can even come up with a cool hybrid plant somewhere between the Milky Way and Andromeda. The plants also clean the ship's air and generate a modest amount of oxygen. Sealed observation chambers are set up to study small fauna, sequence genetic material, or simulate bacterial growth in carefully controlled conditions. All biomatter entering or leaving the lab is subjected to additional quarantine measures. Wait a second. Why are we so worried about quarantining like all this stuff on a ship, but I just went traipsing all up and down a planet, and I should have probably had like 50 different kinds of viruses, bacteria, and who knows what bombarding my system, and everything's hunky-dory, but we gotta be careful with the small amount of fungi I might... I'd probably bring in worse stuff on my shoes, come on. The Tech Lab is used for engineering and technical studies, spectral analysis using laser apparatus, and for analyzing the capabilities of discovered tech. New minerals or metals can be subjected to additional resistance testing before being used in the Tempest's Research Center. Because of the potential volatility of new materials, the Tech Lab is equipped with heavy radiation shielding and can be sealed off in an emergency. Hopefully I'll never have to seal it off in an emergency. Alright, that Codex was a doozy. I didn't realize exactly how much extra new stuff had come up in there. I was expecting that to take a half hour, and I lost track of time. Alright, I need some tea, and I need some rest. I will see you guys next time when I go check out EOS. Thank you guys so much for watching me play Mass Effect Andromeda. Well, I didn't really play it, I just read the Codex, but you guys get it. Well, anyways, thanks again for watching, and bye for now.